It was a chilly evening in late November. The kind of cold that seeps into your bones and makes you pull your coat tighter. Jason had just left work, shoulders hunched, mind cluttered with deadlines and bills. He was rushing to catch the last bus home, each step heavier than the last. The street was quiet, almost eerily so, with only the distant hum of traffic and the occasional bark of a dog breaking the silence. He was about to walk past a bus stop when he noticed a man sitting there, hunched over, clutching a tattered cardboard sign. Jason didn't want to stop. He told himself he was late, that someone else would help if they could. He tightened his grip on his backpack and prepared to walk on until he heard it. A soft, shaky voice said, "Excuse me, could you spare a moment?" Jason froze. There was something in that voice vulnerable, almost pleading, but not demanding. Something human that called to him. He turned and looked at the man. He was older, maybe in his late 50s, with deep lines etched into his face, a gray beard, and eyes that held a kind of quiet sadness. Jason hesitated. He almost walked away. But then, he didn't. Before we dive further into this story, I want to take a moment to invite you to join our community. If you love stories that warm the heart, inspire action, and remind us what truly matters, please subscribe to Kindness Story Hub. Hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing from you, and every little interaction spreads a bit of kindness itself. Jason approached the man slowly, unsure of what to say or do. The man's sign read simply, "Lost everything. Anything helps." It was a phrase Jason had seen hundreds of times, scrolling past on his phone or driving by in his car. Usually, he passed by without a second thought. But something about tonight was different. Maybe it was the voice that reached out, or the quiet dignity in the man's posture, or the aching loneliness that Jason felt mirrored in those eyes. Jason reached into his pocket and pulled out a few crumpled bills. As he handed them over, the man's eyes lit up, not with shame or embarrassment, but with something Jason hadn't expected: gratitude. He smiled, and it was a small thing, yet it felt enormous in the cold evening air. "Thank you," the man whispered. "Thank you so much." Jason nodded, feeling a warmth spreading through him that had nothing to do with the chill. But as he turned to leave, he hesitated. The man's gaze followed him, soft, hopeful, and something in Jason made him stop. You can sit for a minute if you want," Jason said awkwardly. The man's face brightened, and he accepted the offer. They sat together on the cold metal bench, two strangers sharing a quiet moment in the bustling, indifferent city. And then he started to talk. "My name's Robert," the man said. "I used to have a small diner downtown. Family business. I ran it with my wife. Things were good. But then," his voice trailed off, the weight of the story pressing down on him. Jason listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't offer advice. He simply listened as Robert shared the details of losing the diner, of mounting medical bills, of feeling invisible in a world that moved on without him. Each word cut through the noise in Jason's head, replacing his own worries with a stark understanding: life could change in an instant. And often, it wasn't fair. After a while, Jason spoke. "I'm sorry you've had to go through that." His words were simple, but honest. Robert nodded, a lump in his throat. "Thank you. Most people just keep walking. I get it. I don't blame them. But you stopped." That small acknowledgement, that tiny act of recognition, seemed to give Robert a spark of hope he hadn't felt in months. Jason realized something profound: kindness isn't always about grand gestures. Sometimes, it's just stopping. Listening. Seeing someone when everyone else looks away. For the next few minutes, they shared stories, small, human things that built a bridge between them. Jason talked about his own struggles, his own fears of failing at work, at life, at being someone who mattered. Robert laughed softly, a sound that seemed to echo in the empty street, and shared a story about teaching his children to bake muffins when they were little. Each story, each shared memory, reminded them both of the simple joys that survive even in hard times. As the bus approached, Jason realized he needed to go. But he couldn't leave without doing something more. He dug into his backpack and pulled out a sandwich he had packed for dinner. "Here," he said, handing it over. "I know it's not much, but maybe it helps tonight." Robert took it, and his hands shook as he accepted the gift. "Thank you, really. You've no idea how much this means." Jason smiled and felt a weight lift off him. In giving something, however small, he had received far more in return: perspective, empathy, and a reminder of the humanity we all share. But the story doesn't end there. A week later, Jason returned to the same bus stop, curious if he would see Robert again. And there he was, smiling and holding something that made Jason's heart swell: a small cardboard sign that read, "Volunteers at the local food bank. Join us." Robert had turned his misfortune into a mission, inspired by a simple act of kindness. He told Jason that after their meeting, he had connected with a local shelter and found resources to help him get back on his feet. Not only that, but he had begun volunteering, helping others who were in the position he had been just days before. Jason couldn't help but marvel at the ripple effect. One small decision, one act of human kindness, had set off a chain of events that would touch countless lives. And he realized that, in a way, it wasn't just Robert who had been helped. Jason had been changed too. He felt lighter, more compassionate, more aware of the quiet power each person holds to make a difference. It's easy to walk past people in need. It's easy to ignore a plea for help or dismiss a story because it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. But the truth is, kindness doesn't have to be monumental. Sometimes, it's as simple as stopping, listening, sharing a meal, offering a warm word. These tiny gestures, repeated over time, can create a world that feels a little more human, a little more connected, a little more hopeful, and kindness is contagious. The man Jason helped didn't just accept help, he transformed it into hope and action for others. That's the beauty of it. We don't just change a life once. We set off a ripple that can reach further than we ever imagined. As Jason walked home that night, he thought about how small the world seems sometimes, and yet how enormous the impact of one simple choice could be. He thought about the warmth of Robert's smile, the gratitude in his eyes, and the story he would carry forward for the rest of his life. He thought about the people he would meet tomorrow, and the moments when he could choose to stop, to listen, to care. The next morning, Jason found himself looking for small ways to extend kindness, holding the door for a stranger, thanking a barista who always remembered his name, checking in on an elderly neighbor. And each time, he felt a flicker of the same warmth, the same deep connection that had begun at that bus stop that cold November evening. Sometimes, we underestimate the power of a single moment. We think our actions are too small to matter, that someone else will step in. But kindness doesn't work like that. It's not measured by grandiosity, it's measured by intention, by presence, by the simple courage to reach out and say, "I see you. You are not alone." So the next time you pass someone who seems lost, lonely, or in need, remember Jason's story. Remember Robert's gratitude. Remember the ripple that can begin with something as small as a sandwich, a smile, or a few heartfelt words. And know that each act of kindness, no matter how minor it seems, has the potential to change lives, sometimes more than you could ever imagine, because the truth is, sometimes we almost walk away. Sometimes we hesitate, thinking our presence doesn't matter. But then we hear a voice. We see a face. And in that moment, we have the power to choose differently. That choice can be the beginning of something beautiful, something enduring, something human. Jason didn't just help a man at a bus stop. He helped ignite a chain reaction of hope. And in doing so, he learned a lesson we all need to remember: kindness isn't just about helping others. It's about reminding ourselves of the goodness that exists in the world, and the power we each have to keep it alive. So stop. Listen. Give. Even if it's just a moment, a smile, a sandwich. Because you never know the ripples your kindness might create. And maybe, just maybe, that small decision will be the start of a story that changes someone's life forever, including your own.